So why did God rest on the seventh day? The concept of God resting on the seventh day is a pivotal aspect in the biblical narrative, particularly in the book of Genesis. From a Catholic perspective, this event is seen as a conclusion of God's creative work, marking the completion of the universe and all that it contains. This rest is not just a physical cessation of activity, but also a spiritual one, signifying God's satisfaction with His creation and His desire to share this rest with humanity. Hi and welcome to Fiat Project. I am Watani Griffith and you are welcome. So, the Catholic Church emphasizes the significance of the seventh day as a day of rest, not just for God, but also for humanity. This is rooted in the biblical account where God blesses and sanctifies the seventh day, making it holy, as seen in Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. The Catholic Church views this day as a reminder of God's creation and His desire for humanity to share in His rest. This rest is not just a physical break from labor, but also a spiritual one, where we can focus on our relationship with God and develop a deeper understanding of His love and mercy. You see, on the seventh day, according to the Church's perspective, it is closely tied to the concept of Sabbath. In the Old Testament, the Sabbath was a day of rest for Israelites, a day when they would refrain from work and focus on worshiping God. This tradition has continued in the New Testament, where Jesus and His disciples observed the Sabbath, although with a deeper understanding in its spiritual significance, as seen in Mark chapter 2, verse 27 to 28, and also in John chapter 9, verse 16. So, we have an understanding that now the Catholic sees Sabbath as not just a day of rest, but also a day of worship and spiritual rejuvenation. This is a day when we can come together and celebrate the Eucharist, pray, and engage in other spiritual activities that deepen our relationship with God. So, let's pause for a moment. Does that mean that Sabbath is on Sunday? Actually, no. Those are two different days when you get to look at the calendar itself, because the Gregorian calendar that we have, that is being used by most countries, is derived from the Hebrew calendar, where Sunday is considered to be the beginning of the week, although in Judaism, Sabbath is on Saturday, so Sunday is considered to be the beginning of the week in most religious traditions. But here we have a distinction of the two, where Sabbath is on Saturday and we have Sunday retaining its day of worship and significance on Sunday. So there's a reason we will get to address that in the Catechism, where it talks about why do we get to worship on Sunday and not on Saturday. But let's get back to what we were talking about first. So the Catholic Church emphasizes that Sabbath is a day of worship and rejuvenation, and that is reflected in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which states that Sabbath is a day when the believers can honor the Lord and cease from their labors, as seen in paragraph 2174. So, this is in contrast to the Protestant view that Sabbath was abolished in the coming of Jesus Christ. Remember, yes, Christ did resurrect on the third day, and the third day is on Sunday. And we are Christians. We associate ourselves with Christ because, as the Venerable Fulton Sheen once said, there couldn't be Sunday, there couldn't be Christians without Christ. And so there needed there was a need for Christ to resurrect for us to have Sunday. That's why we worship on Sunday, because Christ defeated death and rose on the third day. So, back again to this concept of why the Protestants viewed Sabbath and us getting to recognize it. So, as I've said, the Protestants view their own view, not many, but in contrast, the Protestant view is that the Sabbath was abolished by the coming of Jesus Christ, his death and his resurrection. The Catholic Church views Sabbath as a day that continues to hold spiritual significance. While the specific observance of Sabbath may have changed with the coming of Christ, the underlying principles of rest and worship and spiritual rejuvenation remain essential components of our faith. And so, in summary, this is what we are saying. According to the Church, the Catholic Church, and the teachings of the Catholic Church, God's rest on the seventh day signifies the completion of creation and his desire to share his rest with humanity. The seventh day is seen as a day of rest, worship, and once again, spiritual rejuvenation, where we can come together to celebrate the Eucharist, pray, and deepen our relationship with God. And that's why you find, for cases of some of the saints, they used to take Saturday as a day to prepare, to rest and prepare our own souls for Sunday, for Mass, which will be on Sunday. And that habit got to be developed. I have a mention of some of these saints. I'm tending to forget her name. There are two saints in particular that I do know who did this. And one was really, really devoted to the devotion of the precious blood. I'm forgetting her name. Gertrude and Saint Matilda. Those are the two saints. Yeah, I have remembered. Saint Gertrude and Saint Matilda. Now you know what you can do. That's why you find most of the times, take that time to prepare, just like the Israelites did before they met God. They washed their garments and they purified themselves as they awaited God to show up when they were in the wilderness. It's the same thing that we need to do. Go have the sacrament of confession, go for adoration, prepare your soul for Mass the next day. And when the day for Mass begins on Sunday, show up for Mass early, because you'll have prepared yourself. You'll have read the readings for the next day, reflected on them. So when you're coming to attend Mass, the priest is not reading the readings for you for the first time. Hello, am I speaking to someone there? Yeah, don't let the priest or those who are having the readings on Sunday read the scripture for you, and that will be the first time you're hearing it. But it's also good to prepare, and in you getting to prepare the day before is a way of you recognizing Sabbath in your own personal space. So this is my take on this. The seventh day is seen as a day of rest and worship and spiritual rejuvenation, where we can come together to celebrate the Eucharist in confession. That's the one way, and pray and deepen our relationship with God. So that's all from me today. Thank you for taking time to walk down this path with me, and let me know what you think about today's post in the comments. And as always, I value your feedback. So until next time, may God's peace and protection be with you always. Be blessed.